I'm going to show you a simple trick that will allow you to adjust your rear derailleur in under 60 seconds using no tools. Now, I'm making a few assumptions. One, your shifting has been working well. You haven't had a crash on the bike, bent that derailleur. Maybe it's a new bike and you got a couple 100 miles on it. It was in the shop, a few weeks ago getting tuned up and you got a couple 100 miles on it and that shifting just isn't right. And then finally, most importantly, you haven't taken a screwdriver to any of the adjustments that you think are on that derailleur. There's 3 screws down there. And a hand knob you might not even know is there, at the end of that cable. So the key is, if you've done something like that, we're going to put a little more complex video together in a bit that'll show you how to go a level deeper when you got to do that. But probably 80–90% of you, this is really what you need to do a quick tune-up and just get that bike shifting like butter. So let's go in and take a closer look. All right, let's take a closer look here. What you see here is, this is the derailleur, the rear derailleur, which moves the chain up and down what are known as the cogs. These are your easier gears. These are your harder gears as they get smaller in the back. And these are called cogs. Up at the front, we call these chain rings, just the terminology. There are 2 adjustment screws right here on the derailleur. These are upper and lower limit screws. These have nothing to do with the motion or the tension of the cable that's coming in. What they are is, they make sure that this chain can come all the way down to the last cog on the lower limit screw and not fall off the edge, and go all the way to the top and not go off the top. You notice this doesn't have some big plastic piece on here to keep that chain from going off. It's adjusted right. That chain does not come off the top. Unless you're doing damage back here, these things should be set, and we're set at the bike shop. This third one is really the angle of the derailleur. If you're changing the derailleur out, if you're building a new bike, you're going to be using that derailleur to set that screw to set some things there. So when we go to set this now, I'm going to take you through some simple steps to kind of make this happen. First thing I want you to do is, on the front chain rings, you may have 2, you may have 3. This is important. If you have a triple chain ring, meaning there's 3 of them here, I want you to put it on the middle chain ring. I'm going to move it just to show you. That's your upper chain ring, that's your middle chain ring, that's my bottom chain ring. I'm going to bring it up to the middle. So that's step 1, get it to the middle chain ring. Now on the rear, what I want you to do is, while pedaling it, bring this chain all the way down to the smallest cog. So I'm just going to shift away on the rear one here quickly until I bring it all the way down. When it's all the way down, the tension's out of the cable. That's your loosest position. That's why when the cable stretches, the chain doesn't want to keep going back up. Now we're going to start adjusting this. Now, by the way, I really messed this up in terms of the settings so that you could see how much it's moved. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm pedaling here, I'm going to shift up a notch. I just shifted it up 1 gear on the rapid fire shifters and absolutely nothing moved. Now, to move it up, I'm going to give you 2 ways to think about this. I'm going to turn this as if I'm turning it up the cogs in that direction, counterclockwise if you prefer that, until it moved. So you just saw it jumped up 1 there. So we went from the position of being here to there. Now we're still not quite there. Let's give it a little more. Now we're up there. I want you to take it up 1 more. This is where the trick part comes in. We're on 3. What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to keep taking it up, and I'm going to listen with my ear for that chain to begin to rub that next cog. And there it is. I'm not sure if you can hear it through our microphone here, but it's clicking on that next ring. And I'm going to bring it back about a half of a turn. That's it. Now we're going to do one other thing. We're just going to run through all the gears to make sure everything's working. There's down. Let's take it up. And we're up to the top. And we can start coming back down. Now if you notice, like there, I didn't like that hesitation in how it dropped down. So I know taking it, turning it down the column this way, clockwise, will make it come down a little faster. So I'm going to give it a little more adjustment there just to get a little more speed. Run through them again and make sure I can hit this whole thing. Just take it down 1 more time. Life's good. This was dramatically out. Wouldn't even shift up or come close to it. And that quickly we were able to readjust that. And I ran it through for you a few times to show you how all that works. But the trick is to go between cogs 3 and 4. I'm going to throw a road bike on here, show you the same thing again so you get a second look at it. But that's the trick. 3 and 4. Rub on 4. Back it off about a half a turn so you're at the upper edge of 3. run it through the gears, make sure everything's looking good. Really slick trick to get you very close, if not in perfect adjustment, just like you saw there. All right, now we're going to look at the same adjustment on a road bike. This case, we're looking at an Ultegra 9-speed. We've got our upper and lower limit screws, angle adjustment, and that same cable adjustment knob right here. And let me make sure it's good and messed up. And I'm on my center chain ring. If you only have two, put it on the lower one. A lot of road bikes will have two. This bike was used a lot in Colorado mountains, so it has a triple, just like a mountain bike. So I've got it on the middle chain ring at the front, lowest cog on the bottom all the way, and I'm going to start pedaling, and I'm going to upshift 1. And just like before, I've messed it up enough that it hasn't moved. So I'm sitting here, and I'm going to start here, and it's ready to go, turning it up towards the bike, counterclockwise, and we're there. I'm going to take it up another notch. Now we're on 3. Now we're in our magic 3-4 range. Everything's fine. It shifted up there fine, but I'm going to keep pushing it until I start hearing that click. There it is. I'm hearing that click, click, click going on because it's rubbing on the next cog. And I'm backing it off about a half a turn. And like before now, I'm going to run it up through the gears. And back down. We're getting a little sluggish coming down, hanging up. I'm going to give it a down the cogs turn clockwise. Let's take that back up again. Didn't like how that hung up there. Okay, we're going through it fairly quickly. Let's, I'm going to give it a slight more down, about another quarter turn. There we go. That's the response I like to see. I see that chain jump when I hit that gear. Hanging up, going up. There we go. This one's going to give us a little trickier adjustment. I'm glad it did, because it gives you a feel for that fine adjustment in between. We got it in the ballpark with the 3-4 trick. Now we just got to make sure we're coming down. A little more down and do it again. And down. And there we go. From really out to adjust it. And again, no damage to the bike, no damage to the derailleur, just your normal tension in your cables and your stretch. So that's it on a road bike. Now you might be saying, no, wait a second, I don't have one of these bike stands like you do. How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to do this when I'm out on a bike ride and I'm at a campground, I'm at a hotel or whatever, you know, we're riding 75 miles a day for a week? No problem. I'm going to show you how to do that. You just flip your bike upside down, and carefully, of course, and then go from there. It's a little backwards, but you'll be in good shape. Okay, and I'm just going to show you this really quickly. The idea that if you don't have a bike stand, by the way, bike stand's an awesome tool to have if you're really getting into cycling. You can see how easy it was for us to work on that, you know, up at eye level. And that's going to apply to a lot of things we're doing on brakes, chains, you know, you kind of name it. It's nice to have it up in the air and off the ground. But you don't need that. So let's say you're out on the road, you're at the hotel, you're at a campground or whatever. Find yourself a nice grassy area, somewhere where you're not going to damage your seat or your handlebars or whatever. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to take the bike, roll it up backwards carefully, bring it down on its seat. So here we are. The only difference is I can't work here vertically, and I'm going to have to think a little bit backwards because I'm going to have to sit here. I'm going to have to do my adjustments here, and I'm going to have to shift over here to make everything work. Not a big deal. You know, I can be over here shifting the, got to get your mental head in line on which direction you're going. Move the gears here. Work with my hands and the pedals over here, and you're good to go. So you don't have to have the stand to make it work. So that's it. I hope you found that useful. Keep in mind, center chain ring on the front or bottom. Take yourself all the way to the bottom. Get it moving upward until it's up between 3 and 4. Push it up until you hear it rubbing on 4. Back it off into 3. Run it through the gears and make any fine adjustments you have to do there. I'm going to be doing some more videos on other, what I'm calling like this is more of an entry-level kind of maintenance that most bikers should know how to do, both out on the trail or at home. It'll make riding that much more enjoyable when everything's working right and the shifting's working right and brakes and everything else. So look for more videos to come. They'll get more complex as they go. But I hope you found this useful, and I hope you get you out there getting that bike shifting like butter. Thanks a lot.